The Strait of Hormuz may look like just another narrow stretch of water on the map, but in reality, it is one of the most strategically important waterways on Earth. Every single day, massive tanker ships move through this narrow maritime corridor, carrying oil, liquefied natural gas, and critical cargo that powers economies across Asia, Europe, and beyond. Nearly 1/5 of the world's traded oil passes through this route, making it one of the most sensitive energy arteries in the global system. What makes this waterway especially important is geography. At its narrowest point, the Strait of Hormuz is only a few dozen kilometers wide, yet it connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, and then to the wider Indian Ocean. This means major energy producers in the Gulf rely heavily on this single passage to move exports into international markets. Countries such as Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Iraq all depend on uninterrupted shipping through this route. But perhaps the most closely watched coastline here belongs to Iran. Because Iran sits directly along the northern side of the strait, its location gives it strategic visibility over one of the busiest oil routes in the world. Every tanker entering or leaving the Persian Gulf passes close to Iranian coastal waters. That geography alone explains why the Strait of Hormuz is discussed so often in global strategic analysis. Whenever regional tensions rise, shipping companies, insurers, and global energy traders immediately begin watching tanker routes through Hormuz more carefully. Even small disruptions here can send oil prices upward within hours. Why? Because energy markets react not only to actual interruptions, but also to risk. A delayed tanker, a route adjustment, or heightened military patrols can quickly influence global expectations. That is why naval presence in this area remains constant. Warships from multiple countries often patrol nearby waters, not because conflict is inevitable, but because stability here matters to global trade. For energy-importing economies, safe passage through Hormuz is not optional. It is essential. And while tanker traffic dominates the surface, the deeper importance lies in infrastructure linked to these waters. Nearby export terminals across the Gulf feed directly into tanker routes crossing this strait. Some of the largest oil loading facilities in the world depend on uninterrupted maritime access here. That includes critical export points near Kharg Island, which plays a major role in Iranian oil exports. Kharg Island itself is one of the most important oil export terminals in the region. A large portion of Iran's crude oil shipments historically passes through facilities located there. That means regional shipping routes and export terminals are directly connected. If tanker movement slows, export systems across the region feel pressure. And if export systems slow, global markets notice immediately. This is why analysts often describe the Strait of Hormuz as a pressure point in world energy security. The importance of this waterway is not only economic, it is also psychological, because every major shipping route that depends on a narrow corridor automatically creates strategic sensitivity. Unlike open oceans, narrow maritime passages offer less flexibility. Ships follow predictable paths, traffic lanes remain limited, and every movement becomes easier to observe. This is why navigation in Hormuz is often carefully coordinated. Commercial captains monitor regional guidance constantly. Insurance costs can also rise whenever perceived risk increases. For shipping companies, even temporary uncertainty here affects operational planning. A delay of only a few hours can alter fuel schedules, delivery contracts, and cargo timing across continents. This explains why international observers follow Hormuz almost daily. The world does not wait for major disruption before paying attention. It watches continuously. Military aircraft also play a role in maintaining awareness over nearby waters. Reconnaissance flights, maritime patrol aircraft, and surveillance systems help monitor shipping patterns and regional activity. These systems do not only track vessels, they also help maintain broader maritime awareness. Because in a corridor this narrow, information matters. Every radar contact matters. Every route adjustment matters. Every tanker matters. And yet, despite all the tension often associated with this region, traffic continues. That is the remarkable reality of Hormuz. Even under pressure, shipping usually adapts. Routes continue, schedules adjust, markets respond. But movement rarely stops completely. That resilience is part of why the strait remains central to global energy planning. Alternative pipelines exist in some countries, but none fully replace the volume that Hormuz handles daily. That means global dependence remains significant, and dependence creates strategic value. For many governments, keeping Hormuz stable is not simply about regional policy. It is about domestic energy prices, industrial supply chains, and inflation control. Because when oil prices rise sharply, effects spread quickly far beyond the Gulf. Fuel prices rise, transport costs increase, manufacturing expenses grow, and international markets react. That is why this narrow waterway often appears. When seen from above, Kharg Island appears small and isolated. But this island carries enormous strategic importance in the Persian Gulf. These oil terminals and pipelines handle most of Iran's crude exports, making this island one of the most critical energy hubs in the region. Because of that importance, surveillance activity over nearby waters remains intense, with every movement around the island carefully monitored.